Let me ask you something. If you got a 75 on a maths test, is that a good score? Well, honestly, it depends. If the test was out of 80, that's almost perfect. But if it was out of 500, that's terrible. Same number, completely different meaning. And that is the exact problem we run into in data analysis all the time. Datasets have columns with completely different ranges. GDP values might be in the thousands, generosity scores might be in the tiny decimals. And if we compare those raw numbers directly, the bigger scale always wins. Not because it's more important, but because the numbers are bigger. That's where one of the most important concepts in analytics comes in. That is normalization. Welcome to Learn Data Easy. This is the series where we break down data, cloud, and AI concepts without jargon and without stress. I'm Charlene. I work in data and AI. Today, we're using the World Happiness Dataset to learn normalization. By the end of this video, you'll understand what normalization means, why analysts and machine learning engineers use it, how to do it in Python, and why comparing raw numbers without normalizing first is one of the most common mistakes in data analysis. The dataset we're using comes from the World Happiness Report. This is a global research project that measures how people across different countries evaluate their lives and well-being. And specifically, we're using the Figure 2.1 dataset from the 2026 report. The link is also in the description if you want to follow along. Once it downloads, place the Excel file somewhere easy to access. I'm putting mine inside a folder called Happiness Project. If you already have Anaconda installed, you can open Jupyter Lab from there, or you can open Terminal and write Jupyter Lab. Now, create a new Python notebook. First, let's import the libraries we need. So import pandas. We need to import matplotlib. And if reading the Excel file fails, you may need to install OpenPyXL. So you can install it here. Now to see a preview of that, we can use the head function. Before we start normalizing anything, we need to understand what these columns actually mean. Because one of the biggest mistakes beginners make in data analysis is using data they don't fully understand. And this data set measures how people in different countries rate their own lives on a scale from 0 to 10. The ranking itself is based on survey responses where people evaluate their lives. But the report also includes several factors researchers use to help explain differences between different countries. Here are the main columns we'll work with. Life evaluation. This is the overall happiness score. People are asked to rate their lives from 0 to 10. Log GDP per capita, so this represents economic prosperity per person. The log part is a mathematical adjustment that helps compress very large ranges of numbers. Social support, now this measures whether people feel that they have someone they can rely on during difficult times. Healthy life expectancy, this estimates how long people are expected to live in good health. Freedom to make life choices. This measures how much freedom people feel that they have over their own lives. Generosity, this reflects charitable behavior and willingness to help. Perceptions of corruption. Now this measures how corrupt people perceive governments and businesses to be. And finally, we have dystopia plus residual. This is essentially the part of the model that could not be fully explained. It represents additional unexplained variation in happiness. And this is really important. The happiness ranking is not simply calculating by adding these columns together. These variables are used to help explain differences in happiness between countries. This dataset contains multiple years. So let's filter it to the latest year in the file. So using this command, we are going to see the latest data. So that is year 2025. And again, to preview that data, we can use the head function. Now let me ask you something. If a country has a much bigger economy than another country, does that automatically mean that people there are happier? Now, let's look at the data. So this line here is sorting the data set by GDP contribution. And the ascending equals false means that it shows the biggest values first. So now we're looking at the countries with the highest GDP contribution at the top. Now look at this. So Singapore has one of the highest GDP contributions in the dataset, but it's not number one in happiness. And Costa Rica ranks fourth in happiness, even though its GDP contribution is much lower than countries like the United States or Singapore. So GDP matters, but GDP alone does not explain happiness. And this is one of the biggest lessons in analytics. A single raw number can be useful, but it can also be dangerously incomplete. So where does normalization come in? The good news is you only need to understand a few key ideas to make sense of this. Normalization does not explain why a country is happy. It does not prove that GDP causes happiness. What it does is much simpler and very, very useful. Normalization is a mathematical technique that transforms numbers onto a common scale. Usually we transform values so they fall between 0 and 1. A good way to remember this is this. So imagine 3 students take the same exam, but in 3 different countries. So student A scores 75 out of 80, and student B scores 320 out of 400, and student C scores 55 out of 100. Who did best? You can't tell immediately because the scales are all different. But if we were to scale the scores onto a common scale between 0 and 1, we can then compare them fairly. So student A, we do 75 divided by 80, and we get 0.94. Student B, we have 320 divided by 400, so we get 0.8. And student C, it's 55 divided by 100, and here we have 0.55. Now we can properly compare them. Same scale, fair comparison. And that's what normalization does for data. It takes columns that live on completely different scales and puts them onto the same playing field. If someone asked you in an exam, why do analysts normalize data? A strong answer would be, analysts normalize data to place variables onto a common scale where they can be compared fairly. So variables with larger numerical ranges do not dominate the analysis simply because their numbers are bigger. The most common type of normalization is called the min-max scaling. Let me show you a tiny example first. So now we have these values. We have 3 countries, country A, country B, country C, with GDP of 20,000, 50,000, and 100,000. To normalize them, we use this formula. Let's break this down. So X is the current value, and min is the smallest value, and max is the largest value. So what this formula actually calculates is where the value sits between the minimum and the maximum. Now let's look at the code. So after normalization, the smallest value becomes 0 and the largest becomes 1, and everything else sits somewhere in between. The values keep their relative position, only the scale changes. And this is important. Normalization does not change the ranking or create new information or change relationships between variables. It only changes the scale. Now let's apply this to the real data sets. Here you can see that we normalize our GDP. Now let's check the min and the max. As you can see, our normalized values are between 0 and 1. Now let's compare the raw values to the normalized values side by side. Do you see what happened? The country with the lowest GDP contribution is now 0. The country with the highest is now 1. And every other country sits between those two in the exact same order as before. Nothing changed, except the scale. Now let's normalize generosity as well. Our normalized values are also here between 0 and 1. Now here's where normalization becomes really visible. Let me show you 2 charts. Look at the raw charts. GDP values tower over generosity values, not necessarily because GDP is more important, but because the numerical scale itself is much larger. Generosity almost disappears visually. Now let's look at the normalized chart. Suddenly we can compare both variables fairly. That's the power of normalization. It doesn't change the data, it helps us see the data more clearly. And this isn't just about charts. Some machine learning models are sensitive to scale. If one variable has huge numbers and another has tiny numbers, the model may unintentionally give disproportionate attention to the larger scale variable. The algorithm doesn't understand units. It only sees magnitude. Normalization helps reduce that problem by putting variables onto the same scale. Now, one more thing before we wrap up. You'll sometimes hear people talk about standardization instead of normalization. They're related, but they are not the same. So normalization or min-max scaling puts values between 0 and 1. Standardization, also called Z-score scaling, transforms values so that they have a mean of 0, a standard deviation of 1. And that means that values are measured by how far they are from the average. So which one should you use? Normalization is often useful when data has clear minimum and maximum boundaries. Standardization is often better when data contains outliers or it doesn't have fixed boundaries. For beginners, start with normalization. It's simpler, intuitive, and very, very common. So let's recap the key ideas. Normalization transforms numbers onto a common scale, usually between 0 and 1, but doesn't have to be between these ranges. We use it so variables with different ranges can be compared fairly. Min-max scaling is the most common method. It's x minus min divided by max minus min. And normalization does not change rankings or relationships. It only changes scale. So the biggest lesson here isn't really about the happiness data, although that could be pretty interesting as well. It's that numbers can change completely depending on the scale they're measured on. Normalization does not change the story in your data. It just helps you see the story a bit more clearly. And honestly, that's what good analysis is all about. If this has helped, please subscribe and let's keep learning data the easy way. I'll see you next time.